We've got some NFL news breaking this Friday afternoon. The Cardinals have released DeAndre Hopkins. So let's talk about whether or not it makes sense for the Broncos to pursue D-Hop and whether they could be in the mix to do so. And then the second half of today's show, we're going to check out some injury news coming out of OTAs. But to start things off, when it comes to should Denver sign DeAndre Hopkins, I could say a lot of things. I'm going to say just two letters for now. N-O, no, right? In short, no. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for Denver to sign DeAndre Hopkins after already having a jam-packed wide receiver room. You have Jerry Jeudy. You've got Courtland, Sutton, and Tim Patrick on contract extensions. You drafted Marvin Mims with your first pick in this past draft, right? This is a very expensive wide receiver room. Sutton and Patrick, both on decent-sized contracts, making over $10 million a season. Jerry Jeudy, a first-round pick contract. Marvin Mims, who you clearly like because you just drafted him with your first selection this past draft. Denver does not really have the money to do it. Could they clear some money? Absolutely. We saw them just do that with Brandon McManus. Are they dying to clear money to add a fifth wide receiver to this room? I don't think so, right? So if you're looking for Denver to be in the mix to sign D-Hop, I hate to disappoint. That's what I say to my girlfriend, but it's just not going to happen for the Broncos. DeAndre Hopkins, the last 4 seasons, has been good, right? He missed a lot of time this past season for a PED suspension, but still, 717 yards in 9 games. He's averaging a little under 100 yards a game at his age. Like, he can still produce. Whichever team he ends up signing with, they're going to be getting a good wide receiver. I don't think he's in one of those territories where the whole NFL thinks he's washed and us fans are still begging for someone to sign him. We kind of get that every so often in free agency in the offseason. We're like, last year was kind of like Ndamukong Suh. Why is he still a free agent? Oh, I guess all the NFL is out on him. I don't think that's the case for D-Hop. But what do you guys think? Should the Broncos sign DeAndre Hopkins? I'm going to go with N for no. I just don't see how it really makes sense for Denver. But let me know what your thoughts are. If you disagree, you can type Y for yes. And hey, while you're letting me hear your thoughts in the comments section, we got a sub battle going on with our Chiefs channel right now. Now, we have picked up 54 subscribers this week, and I'm currently looking at our Chiefs host, Harrison Graham, and they've got 58 subs. Now, some good news, bad news. We're in second place, but it is Friday, and I think the Chiefs report took the day off, so we could pass them right before the finish line. So hit that sub button down below if you have not already. Now, I will say, having said all that about the Denver Broncos not really being a destination for DeAndre Hopkins, if we have learned one thing this offseason about Sean Payton and the Walton Penner ownership group, they love to spend money. That's their favorite hobby, spending money. It's a great hobby. It leads to a lot of financial issues for most Americans, but when you own Walmart, you kind of get away with it. So we can't quite say the Broncos are going to be out on adding anyone because money definitely won't be an issue. That's the case for a lot of teams with some sorry-ass owners who don't want to spend money for these top-tier players. But Denver, if Sean Payton and George Paton go to Walton Penner and say, hey, this is how we can utilize DeAndre Hopkins, and this is how we can make this team a lot of success and win a lot of games. We just need a couple extra G's. I am sure Walton Penner will be fine with green lighting a big contract like that. Now, I don't think Denver is going to want to pursue DeAndre Hopkins, but if they did want to, I think ownership would have its full backing. Now, D-Hop recently hopped on a podcast, and he talked about his preferred quarterbacks he'd like to play with. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. So no Russell Wilson, but money talks, and if those 5 teams aren't interested in D-Hop for whatever reason, maybe he decides, you know what, I go to option plan 6, 7, or 8, all right? Now, here's what DeAndre Hopkins said on what he wants in a team during that podcast interview. For me, that's it. Great management, a QB who loves the game, and a great defense. When you look at those 3 boxes, I know every single fan base is going to talk themselves into checking it, but I do believe Denver has great management. I'm a big believer in the Walton Penner group and Sean Payton and George Paton. QB who loves the game. Russell Wilson loves it so much, he's honestly a bit corny about how he loves it, but no denying he loves the game. A great defense. They were a top 10 defense last year by pretty much all accounts, right? So I'm going to say Denver does fit the criteria. For me, it really comes down to this. It's not so much the Broncos signing DeAndre Hopkins, the dream scenario, the Nathan for you plan. Anyone but Kansas City signs DeAndre Hopkins, right? That should be the priority. Don't let him go to a division team. Have him go to Buffalo, right? And let the Bills beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game or something like that. But no, as long as D-Hop does not go to KC, it's a win in my book. So I want you all to predict where you think DeAndre Hopkins will end up signing. Seems like the Bills and the Chiefs are the two most likely suitors, but the Eagles are super aggressive, so can't quite rule them out. There's a lot of teams I could talk myself into. Sleeper team? How about the Jags, right? Really investing in Trevor Lawrence. I think that could be a good move for Jacksonville. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Now, switching gears here, let's talk injury news coming out of OTAs. Mike Kliss tweeting out defensive tackles Mike Purcell and DJ Jones are coming off minor offseason surgeries per sources and are being held out of OTAs. Jones started 15 games last year and Purcell in all 17 games, starting 4. And then Baron Browning was excused Thursday to attend a family matter. Hopefully everything is okay with the Brownings. But do I like to see offseason surgeries? No, they're never really ideal if you have the choice between, getting it or not getting it, unless it's absolutely necessary. But hopefully Purcell and Jones are able to join this team for maybe not mandatory minicamp in a few weeks, but start of training camp at the end of July. Like, that should be the target goal, right? Now, Denver recently signed Tyler Lancaster, and we'll refresh everyone's memories on him in just a moment. I wonder if that signing was made because Denver foresaw what was DJ Jones and Mike Purcell maybe both not being ready for the start of the season. And maybe Denver is kind of learning from their mistakes last year with Billy Turner, who they were very optimistic would be ready to go week 1. And surprise, surprise, he was far from ready to go. So maybe they are hedging their bets here going, all right, well, if DJ Jones or Mike Purcell starts the year or starts training camp on the PUP list, at least we have a good depth piece in Tyler Lancaster. Now, last season, the medium-size-ish free agency acquisition, DJ Jones, 34 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. He did miss some time. Meanwhile, Mike Purcell rotating in. Pretty solid year for the former Wyoming Cowboy. 45 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1.5 sacks in all 17 games. Now, like I mentioned, Lancaster comes over from the Raiders with an asterisk. He didn't play a single snap for Vegas last year. He got hurt before the season started. But prior to that, 4 seasons in the frozen tundra with the Packers. And he's never been a pass rusher. He's a 1-3 technique. So like DJ Jones and Mike Purcell, he is there to stop the run and to allow linebackers to do their job better. And I like the move because I think Denver's defense could probably stand to add a couple more guys in the trenches. The run defense for the Broncos last year was barely top 10, which is definitely not a bad thing to be barely top 10, but still, they did lose some players in the offseason with Draymond Jones, and they added Zach Allen. But this run defense, I'm curious to see, and overall this defense, how it fares without sort of the heart and soul last year, which was Ejiro Evero, right? New DC coming into town. Not quite sure how VJ is going to stand up compared to Evero last season, if this defense is going to dramatically regress, if it's going to stay the same. It's really hard to predict defenses. Like, offenses tend to stay consistent year in and year out. Defenses, you get some lucky breaks your way, you get some balls bouncing your way, and you can kind of ride that turnover luck, if you will, but that doesn't always carry over from season to season. So I'm definitely not opposed to adding some more, meat and potatoes to the trenches for Denver's run game. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. We'll catch up with everyone later.